All right, let me flip it around. All right, hello, hello. All right, let's see here. So, going live from my phone because something is not working right. So I'm gonna try to also see it. All right, let me know. Okay, I see Vanessa watching. Hi, Vanessa. Welcome to day 2 of Discover Your Archetypes. Okay, there I am. All right, it feels a little weird watching myself there. Hi, Adana. Hi, Anne. Okay, say hi if you're watching. My laptop, I was typing in, but it kept, I don't know, I kept losing the video. So anyways, we're here, I'm here. And we're gonna just roll with this. Thank you, I'm glad. Thanks for letting me know you hear my voice. I just swapped out my microphone. All right, awesome. Hello, hello. Like what's the queen wave? LOL. Anyways, yes, I just thought it would be fun to wear my crown today since we are talking about archetypes. And it's interesting because, hi Mandy, hi Catherine, hello. It's funny because I was thinking earlier, yeah, if you have the queen, you can pull off a crown, right? But I did an interview earlier with a spiritual nature healer artist teacher, and she does not have the queen archetype, but she made a lovely crown. It was a nature crown, and it was kind of, hi Anna, it was like her fairy, her nature fairy crown. So it did not look like mine. It had a lot of like leaves and nature stuff, but it suited her well. And so just a couple other things before we dive in. So funny things actually to me. Well, one, so it's raining here. I don't know how it is where you are, but it's been raining all day, which could be why my laptop wasn't connecting right, but I'm glad it worked earlier because I did a live TV show, so hello. So I went to go down to the mailbox. I said, I'm going to get my umbrella out because I don't want to get soaked. So I opened this umbrella that I hardly ever use, and I remembered that I don't know how to close this umbrella. And it was some, like, I don't know where we got it, but it made me think of, I think last year we had the same problem. We opened the umbrella and we couldn't figure out how to close it. And one of my daughter's friends is an engineer, like it's what she does for work. And my husband said, she's an engineer, and engineers know how to figure stuff out. And she went, my husband gave it to her, and within a few seconds, she knew exactly what to do. She knew how to do it. So if you have a challenge like that, if you have the engineer archetype, you're probably gonna find the way to fix it pretty easily. So when I went to energy medicine school, sometimes we joked around like, I don't have the chakra for that, or sometimes we did. So that's kind of like one of the ways the archetypes, knowing our archetypes can help us either know who to ask, know what we might be good at or what we're not good at. And it doesn't mean you can't learn those things, but they might come a little more naturally to certain people. All right, so yesterday I kind of introduced you to the archetypes and what was, introduced you to the archetypes. Today we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper. Say hi when you pop on. If you watch the replay later, hashtag day 2. So today we're gonna start to talk about how to uncover, hi Jessica. Oh, you're trying to get on. Yeah, so was I. I'm glad you made it. So sometimes it takes a minute to connect on lives, right? So we're going to talk about our unique 12 blend of archetypes, because everyone has a unique blend of 12. There are 4 that everyone has, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. But today we're just going to, so I did put a link in yesterday's post, and I put one, it's not in here right now, it's in the link I tried to post like a few minutes before I went live. But there is a link to go and look. It's Carolyn Mace. You can look up some of your archetypes there. If you haven't done that yet, it's totally fine if you hadn't. Also on this masterclass, I'm offering some amazing gifts. And so just like yesterday, today as well, if you share the link for this class, and you can do it after or now, it's not in the links above right now, and let me know where you shared it, you will be entered to win. And I will be announcing yesterday's winners in a minute. And what you will get, it's something different today. So today's gift, or today's prize for tomorrow's, the winner will get it tomorrow, or will know tomorrow, is another set of cards, an oracle deck, but it's not the Archetypes one. It's actually another deck that's recently become one of my favorite, and I'm just going to leave that one a mystery. So if you're interested in potentially winning that mystery prize, you can share about this this masterclass, and let me know where you shared it, and I will enter you to win for tomorrow. And the other prize is for people that are the most kind of, I'll look at who is like the most active participants, either now or even on the replay. And each day I will pick somebody for a 20-minute Archetypes discovery call to dive a little deeper for yourself and see other ways for yourself how the Archetypes can help you in your life. So you're probably waiting for, who are the winners from yesterday? Thank you. Wow, that's awesome, Jessica. Thank you. Amazing. So the winner for the Carolyn Mace Archetype cards, drum roll, is Jessica Greenfield. So Jessica, you are getting the Archetype cards, and I don't know if we're friends on Facebook, but I will reach out to you and get your address so I know where to send them. Congratulations. And who's getting the 20-minute is Adana. So Adana, yay, Jessica. And Adana is getting the 20-minute Archetype call. So there's still more options. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Cindy. So say hi whenever you are popping on. I appreciate it. Okay, so, and later on I'll be sharing more about, yay, Adana. I'll be sharing some more stuff about some other really awesome, sweet things that I'll share that later on. So let's dive in right now. Okay. So my name is NancyAnger, and if you're just like hopping on and haven't seen me before, I'm an intuitive coach, guide, and master energy healer, and also the creatrix, I love that name, of Embrace Your Archetypes, the sacred keys to awaken, the sacred keys to live a life that you love. Awesome. I love the sharing the love. Awesome. Yay, sharing the love. So since I was a teenager, I loved meditation and exploring, hi Lily, and exploring the connections between the physical and the non-physical world. And then, so I've been really like exploring like how things connect together. And no, I don't have the engineer. I have the adventurer, but the guide and a lot of them. So, but when I found the Archetypes in 2010, it really was like, it made a huge difference in my life. Until that point, I'd really been there were certain things that I just really didn't understand. I think I shared a little bit yesterday how at that point I had a yoga and wellness center. Yes, meditation is awesome. Meditation, what I love, one of the things, it helps us connect to ourselves, right? Because there's so much going on in the outside world. Hi, Dawn. There's so much going on in the outside world that we can kind of get a little bit sidetracked. So when you tune into yourself, it's really, we're all meant to be sovereign. And I like looking at my crown as I say that, but we are all intended to be sovereign. We're all different. We have, but it's kind of like nature, right? The first chakra is about our tribe. We were born into a family, into a tribe. And, we want to fit in. Part of like human is like survival and tribal and all of that. But we also each have a lot of things that make us unique. And so when I learned about the Archetypes, I suddenly started to understand myself in a whole new way and understand other people. It really helped me to understand like more about my purpose and to really hone it in or lock it in. So more and more people now are being drawn towards the archetypes, and because they want to really understand, like when you're, people, we might have had our jobs or different things in life, but maybe, created really good lives in many ways. But then there's this desire to really connect to our authentic purpose, right? A lot of people come to me or ask that question, what is my purpose, and want to feel really fulfilled in their life. So this is one way the archetypes can really help. So imagine think about if you have a friend or a person or maybe a group that that you can just be fully yourself, like full permission granted. And it's like, ooh, that is like, it just feels so good. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're like holding back a little bit unless we're with that person that we can feel really comfortable with. I remember when my youngest daughter graduated from high school, it was like all of a sudden I took this sigh of relief, and I realized, I've been have had a little, I've had a little bit of a mask on. I didn't realize, because I wanted to be the good parent, like the normal parent, so that my kids could, be comfortable in school. And I was like, ooh, that was really interesting. So I don't know if you've ever noticed that for yourself, that maybe, sometimes we might feel like a little like we hold back in some places, right? All right, so there are thousands of archetypes to choose from, and archetypes are impersonal patterns in and of themselves that influence. They're both universal and ancient, but they become personalized when they are part of your individual psyche. So somebody asked yesterday, I think it was Jessica, that I didn't see today. The good thing about me being on my phone instead of my laptop is I'm seeing the comments faster. I am seeing who's watching. So I love it in that perspective. So she asked about the difference between like spirit guides, because sometimes I kind of refer to the archetypes like our guides, but they're not really guides. They're energy. Like guides are energy too, but guides are kind of, so spirit guides, we'll say, are kind of their own individual energy, right? But archetypes, I just think of like guidance energies. Like they're more like energy, but they're not beings. They're kind of part of an energetic field, per se. So whether you had a chance to look at the list of archetypes yesterday or not is fine. When you do, you might go, whew, how do I figure this out? There's a lot of them. That's okay. Just start to kind of play and poke through. And if you do, I'm going to share later about my course. If you take the course, I can share so much during during these 3 days, but I will share more. So anyways, some of the archetypes, as you first look, some of them might pop out and you're like, oh, I think I have that one. Or, oh, I definitely don't have that one. So the funny thing is sometimes sometimes there might be something that really triggers you. That's something to take another look at, because sometimes the archetypes that trigger us can be a clue that we actually might have that archetype. And some of them have names that people might look at and think, oh, because so the last time I taught this course, one of the women had the beggar archetype, and she didn't like it at first when I told her that. I'm like, you have the beggar archetype, and she's like, what? No, I don't. But she is an amazing person. She loves to, she's good at asking. So part of the light side of the beggar, right? We know probably the shadow, right? The shadow is the person that's kind of not taking maybe self-responsibility and begging and out of their, not really in their core. But the beggar is the person that's really good at asking. They're the person you want as the head of the fundraiser for the charity and things like that. And this person, she's wonderful at collecting donations like bras for breast cancer and scholarships for things. And she's just an amazing person. So her beggar archetype is a beautiful thing, but it just, when you first hear that, you're like, ugh, that one sounds kind of yuck. And let's think about Gandhi and Jesus, right? They had the martyr archetype. And how powerful is that? Like, think about Gandhi, like he was in his core, and Jesus too. When we are in our core, whatever our archetypes are, they are so powerful. So when we are in the light of those archetypes, it's like our puzzle pieces are aligned. So yesterday, I know I mentioned Donald Trump. I mentioned him having the king archetype instead of the politician. But another one he has that really stands out is the provocateur, right? Now that you see that one, it's kind of hard to miss. So my husband has that one too. The provocateur, you're like, well, what is the gift in that one? The gift of the provocateur is they're here to wake people up. I will literally be walking through the grocery store with my husband, and my husband will see somebody that's kind of distracted or might be, you know, whatever, and he will just like say something to them, and it just kind of wakes them up, and usually it makes them laugh or something. Workaholic, okay. So workaholic, yeah, that might be a version of the, could be a version of the addict, not necessarily, but yeah. So, yeah. So, but anyways, when we really know them, there's a light and a shadow to everything. So when you just kind of come to understand that, it makes a lot of sense. And, you know, other times we might push something away. Like I was thinking earlier, one of mine is the hedonist, right? And I realized like at some point that I don't know if it might be like religious texts or something I've read where it's like hedonism is a sin. And I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? Good thing I didn't grow up believing that. But it could be like the hedonist could be overly indulgent, right? It's hedonist, so some can be similar, like a hedonist and an art addict can both like go a little bit too much of a good thing, right? I can definitely do that with my hedonist. But on the other side, like the gift of the hedonist is like, I'm the person that says, who cares if it's Tuesday? Let's celebrate the moment. So that's what I bring, you know, that's one of the things I bring. I don't keep the stuff, you know, the good china. I don't save it for like the special day necessarily. It's like, let's live in the moment. So that is one of the gifts of the hedonist. So let's see what else. So masters, right? Ascended masters, if they lived as human, they would probably have that master archetype. Master is one of mine. Ooh, that sounds like you. Okay. Yeah. So the hedonist, the hedonist might like good food, drink, and we're going to share a little, but they're going to follow you through. You're going to be able to look back through your lifetime and find them. Okay. The hedonist. All right. So let me kind of do a little bit of steps to give you some steps. You too, Lily. Okay. Yes. Well, of course, because you know what? That makes a lot of sense because you are like a connoisseur of teas and I think you bring some energy in there. So that makes perfect sense for you, Lily, the hedonist. You know, you appreciate, yes, every moment is a special occasion. I am getting total truth bumps as you say that. So somebody else I'm thinking of that's famous that you can kind of see their archetypes like Walt Disney. Thanks for the love heart shower. I love it. Yeah, I see the china and don't value things more than people. I use the china. Yeah, I like the way you said that. I'm getting more truth bumps. Woo! So Walt Disney, right? Entrepreneur. And a magical child. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the child archetypes. Everyone has them, but there are different flavors of child archetype. He totally had the magical child. And I was talking about the child actually earlier in the call I had with the nature artist and like connecting with our child archetypes, so powerful, so important. So, all right, so let's see. Oh, so one other story I wanted to share, my husband, right? He has the knight archetype and I have the queen. So for Halloween last year, I got us king and queen costumes. Like we had a little party at our house. And did my husband just wear a crown? No. He wore a werewolf mask and put a crown over it. He really didn't have the king. And so he didn't really embody it. He didn't want to. So his werewolf mask was kind of eternal, probably eternal child and provocateur mixed in there, right? So let me tell you, when those two get into the shadow, that can be quite interesting. So the thing is though, when you start to understand and you see the shadow can be fun when you know you're in there. Then I guess it's not the shadow when you see it, but all right. So the other thing is just be really patient. All right. So let's start to look. I love decorative and extensive food, etc. My family is my life. Yeah. Yes, mine too. So the thing is, so we can have similar things that we like to do or look like we're doing similar things, but have different intentions underneath. All right, so let's just do some steps here. So step one is, you look at the list and you just start to look through and maybe start to write down some things that stand out to you. And I will tell you, the list that I created 11 years ago changed a little bit over time. So this is a journey, but even starting to uncover one of your archetypes and really start to see that is so magical, really life-changing. So just the card deck that I am going to be giving to Jessica, that's an awesome deck of cards as well. It's the Carolyn Mace's Archetype cards that you can find on Amazon. They're a great deck to play with as well. So you just start at the list and you look at what's jumping out at you. And what I did sometimes when I had the deck of cards, I'll put them out and I'll put them around and I'll look at them for a while and see. And this is what I used to do, and sometimes I've done for clients. And you kind of will, you can tune in and start to get some information. Yes, the list, if you signed in up for this class, there's a list in the event itself. There's a list that went out in the email. There's a list in the Nourished Soul I sent the first time I tried to go live with this video that didn't work. I think it's there still. Once I'm done, I'll go in and try to put everything back at the top of the comments of this again. So, but where I had to just jump on here, I didn't do that. All right. So I will share the link for that after. Okay. And as I said, so there's 4 archetypes that everyone has, and then there's 8 others. So you just start creating the list and you kind of start looking at them. And just because one looks like a male archetype or a female one per se, like warrior might sound more masculine. One of my daughters has the warrior archetype, but some of them, even a mother or dad, you're welcome. I know a woman that has father archetype, and I talked yesterday about like Mr. Mom. So it's more likely that if you resonate as female that you will have more of the female. I mean, there's female, male, and then there's some that are neither. All right, so just be sure, just include anything. So step 2, just notice any that stand out and then any that you feel in resistance to. And it's not about picking archetypes that you would like to have, because honestly though, I wouldn't have actually liked to have the Queen. I didn't know I had the Queen. I don't think I would have guessed I had the Queen. Some of them will be a little bit easier, and some of them might not be as much. So like my teacher, which is actually the guide, some of them will be similar. There's teacher, guide, and mentor, all very similar. I've always known I was a teacher. Now I realize the guide is a little bit more in resonance, but some will be a little bit similar. And just start off and don't sweat it. So as I said, some might seem undesirable, and put them anyway, because I mean, think about like Gandhi or Jesus. Jesus also had the servant archetype, right? And that could be triggering for some people, but he was in service, and that's like such a beautiful thing. So if it's your archetype, when you are in the light of it, it's going to feel aligned, it's going to feel good. But it's also why some things don't feel good to us. Like I love fitness. I've loved it for years and years and years. I don't love everything about it. I really don't like running all that much, but it's a part of me. It's fun for me. I think it's fun. Some people might think completely the opposite, right? Yeah, try it with the cards, Jessica. But it's such a powerful pathway to begin to understand yourself. So, so when you look at like an archetype, maybe like the saboteur, which is one that we all have, and you start to see that you're sabotaging yourself, when you start to realize it's an archetype, you realize it's not you, it's just an aspect. You can see, oh, my saboteur is showing up. So it's like the idea when we're talking about meditation, right? When we meditate, it's almost like we're stepping back into witness mode. We're stepping back into who we really are, and we're watching ourselves, like doing and being. Sometimes I've done that many times, like watched myself and like, what are you doing? You know, so, but it's a good place to kind of look and just, so be like the curious child, right? At a soul level, we are all infinite beings with infinite capabilities, but the archetypes are, you know, the tools that we brought into this lifetime to do our purpose, really. And I don't think I said yesterday, but I believe we chose them before we were born. And then it's part of like our discovery, right? To remember them. All right, so let's see. Step 3, perfectionism and control is my saboteur. Yep. Could be, definitely could be. So, but once we start to understand these things, then we can start to notice and shift. And sometimes just first by noticing them, and then sometimes we might give ourselves a hard time about it, right? Or judge ourselves or whatever. And I'll talk a little bit about that a little more tomorrow when I talk about those 4 archetypes, which we call the survival ones. All right, so step 3, when you're looking at these archetypes, they have a light and a shadow side. So you want to make sure that you resonate with both of those, both the light and the shadow. And sometimes the shadow might be the one that really gives you the clue. And I've done that too with clients. Sometimes we'll be looking at a couple of them, but if the shadow really doesn't resonate, then you probably don't have that one. And so, you know, the light, like I said, the light might sound like, oh, that could be me, but then the shadow is definitely not. So the other thing is we speak the language of our archetypes. So, and sometimes other people will speak that. So I had a woman in one of the last classes, and she said, we were talking, when she tuned into her archetypes, she realized her brother-in-law and her husband were always saying things like they were always saying things like that she was always like shape-shifting, like she could really change her look, and she always seemed different and had a different look. And it was her shapeshifter archetype, and she realized that other people were saying it to her. So you might start to realize that this language, like I'll hear sometimes, like people might say, I want to kill something, right? That might be something that the warrior archetype has, right? The warrior archetypes are similar to knights in certain ways, but knights are romantic. My husband is a knight. They're more romantic. And I remember I had a client several years ago, a gentleman, he was in his 70s. He had some kind of pretty rough things in life that he had experienced. And I said to him, all of a sudden I realized, I said, you know, I think you have the warrior archetype. And, you know, sometimes warriors, they just want to kill shit. And he just was like, oh, he just felt so much better. It's like, oh, now I really understand it. It's okay. There's a reason I feel this way, and it's okay. So, you know, sometimes, again, other people will see things in us, and that's really helpful to help us kind of like bring something to light. Or you might see a message or notice something. Or when I figured out my husband had the knight archetype, he came home and he had been on the road on a truck all day, and he came home and he brought me a song, Kenny Rogers' Knight in Shining Armor. I was like, the day I was like, I think he has the knight. So it's pretty interesting as you're kind of going through this journey, if you pay attention, how the universe is always talking to us. So step 4, you want to look and see, is this pattern running all the way back into your childhood? Sometimes I post a picture once in a while that I love. I was probably maybe 4 years old. I'm on my little trike, and I like to say I had stone tires, right? It was a long time ago. And I had a hula hoop on the handlebar. It's like my athlete was ready to go. I was like ready to jump into action. When I was a little girl, I did not like wearing dresses because my mother would like say, oh, put on a dress, you know. And when I got a little bigger, I would throw my pants out the window and go put them on, because what if I wanted to go climb a tree or something, you know? So my athlete. So look back into your childhood. Even my hedonist, I realized I was probably 13 years old or something. And I used to have my little sister like rub my back and put lotion and powder on it, okay? So I was getting massaged before I even knew what massage was. So it's gonna be there somewhere. You're gonna find it back, you know, even a queen, right? I have the queen archetype. My granddaughter, who's 4.5 now, when she was even like 2 years, I could see it when she was really little, that she had a queen. We would bring her in this wagon and it had a little roof, and it was like, she was just like the queen sitting in there. It's funny, but we have them from the beginning. So it's gonna be all the way from the start. If you have the entrepreneur archetype, one of my daughters has the entrepreneur. She was the kid that she was like 3 or maybe 4, maybe 5, I don't know. And she wanted to have the lemonade stand, you know, go out and make some money at a really young age. And this daughter has also done multiple business ventures and, you know, tried to sell her prom dress and, you know, always trying to create business ventures. So these things are going to be there. And if you start to look at them, and as I said now, step 5, if some of them look similar. So I know Jessica was talking about the perfectionist, which is an archetype, but connecting to her saboteur. And yes, perfectionism can definitely be a way we sabotage ourselves. So for a while, I thought I had the perfectionist and the master. But then I realized that what looked like the perfectionist was really the master, because I say it's like the tweaker, right? My little nickname. I love to tweak things and I love to learn more, but it's like me wanting to master things. So it's less about perfection per se than it is mastering. And then I had another client that said she was upset because she got a nick in, I think it was her brand new countertop or something. It could have looked like the perfectionist, but it wasn't. When I looked a little bit deeper, what it was she had the Midas miser archetype, and she was concerned that it lost value. So what if you don't remember a lot of your childhood? That's fine. There's a lot of stuff that I don't remember either. And things will just unfold, you know, things will unfold a little. It's totally fine. There's definitely a lot of stuff I don't remember either. But just, you know, look for a pattern just back in your life. It doesn't have to be all the way back into childhood, you know, so it's okay. Don't worry. You'll start to really, things will start to lock in. You'll have, what I found anyways, is I had a list of things that felt really right and things I wasn't quite sure about. And it's okay for them to be a work in progress, because these are all like relationships that you start to develop and you get to know them, and you have your whole life to do that. But it's like when things kind of start to lock in and you're like, oh, that really makes sense. Like I think I said yesterday when I, you know, realized I had the queen archetype, and I was like, oh, wow, I really, no wonder that made, like so many things made sense, even running my yoga studio and my family. And so some of them can look pretty similar. If you find some that are similar, especially if you have the card deck and you just kind of look and you just can put them there and just kind of sit with it. You know, it's not about perfection. So it's just kind of looking and figuring out. But on the other hand, like it can be really valuable. So I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, about that person that had the free spirit archetype that she was kind of pushing down about herself. And when she started to talk about it, her energy shifted. It was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And it just totally jumped out. And one of my daughters has that free spirit archetype, and it's pretty awesome, and it's light side. Sometimes she'll go on like vacation and with her boyfriend, and I'm like, oh, Mrs. Magoo goes on vacation, because she's just like, woohoo, you know, life works out. So, but the fun thing is, whatever our archetypes, whatever things, you know, we're like gifts to other people. So step 5, okay. Step 5 was just to look and see if some of the archetypes that you're looking at, if they're similar. Like I said, the teacher, the mentor, the what, you know, if there are some that are kind of similar, then you can look at those and just kind of play and see which one of those stands out. So, and like I said, the perfectionist and the master, I thought I had both, but I really just had the master. So that's step 5. You're just kind of looking and seeing what are similar. How many archetypes can we have? Okay, so good question. The way that I teach and understand is that we have 12 primary archetypes, and they all actually connect with our 7 chakras and 5 energy centers. I don't go into teaching about that part as much. Sometimes I teach a little bit of it, like my physical life purpose is the queen, and then my spiritual life purpose is the guide, and then, you know, so I kind of have an idea where my prostitute archetype, which we'll talk about tomorrow, is connected to my throat chakra. So it's not as important about that, but I teach about 12 primary archetypes, but we can also be influenced by other ones. So that's a really good question. All right. So step 6, don't overthink it. It's a work in progress, as I just said. So just, you know, have fun with it, play with it. You know, yeah. So I have, like, when you start to notice, so when you have your archetypes, they're actually, some of them you probably have developed more than others, even if you didn't realize you had them, and some of them will be less developed. But they all want to, they're like having, it's like having 12 kids in a way, right? They all really want some attention. So I had a client in one of my archetypes courses, and she started to realize that she might have the queen, but she didn't want the queen. She's like, no, when I feel like my queen, which was her shadow queen, was coming out, people don't like me. And then, so I worked with her. I think we did like a call and stuff, and I worked with her a little bit, and she started to build a relationship, and she realized how much her queen had been there supporting her the whole time. And she started to appreciate her queen archetype and built like a relationship in a short amount of time. And her queen wanted to be seen. Her queen was a little annoyed that she wasn't being noticed, actually. And then she so it was like welcoming a part of yourself into the fold. One that I didn't quite realize until a little bit later was my alchemist. And now I call my business, I don't know, I changed the name, Energy Alchemy, right? Because that is what I do. I'm an alchemist, and I use that everywhere, when I'm cooking, when I'm gardening, when I'm working with energy, when I'm doing fitness, you know, transforming, alchemizing my body, when I'm, like I said, working with clients, working with energy. So it's like it starts to show up everywhere. All right, so let's see. So step 7, as I mentioned a little, watch your language. Just notice the words that you're using, the language. You know, the things around your house are going to give you clues. I have signs around about adventure. Actually, I cut this. This was after I knew I had the adventure. It's a little, I don't know, it came somewhere. Nancy, your adventure of a lifetime begins here. It's like I keep it on my desk. And if my adventure, if I haven't really been like paying attention to her, she can start to get nudgy, right? It's a little, thank you. Yeah, it's like a little child will, our archetypes want our attention. They're part of us. They want us to see them and notice them. They're here for a reason. So when we're able to even just start to acknowledge it, it makes a huge difference. It's like, thank you for seeing me. So so it's like if you just had a blender, like a Vitamix, and you tucked it away and didn't really use it, you know, it's not helping you in any way. And then suddenly you pulled it out and you're like, wow, I got a Vitamix. I can do all these things with it. So it's like these tools in a way, or that you can, that you all have. So any other questions coming up? I see, what was step 5? Okay, now how many archetypes? So I love that I'm seeing the comments today. Yay, so it's fun doing it on my laptop, but so it just really helps you to understand yourself, what makes you tick, and really when you really, you know, when you understand and when you really embrace or embody something, it really, it feels so good. Like it feels like the pieces of you just came into place. And so let's see. So, you know, each of us are here for a reason. We're here to make a difference in the world. And then when you start to uncover your personal archetypes, it really helps to, when you understand more things about yourself, it can help you see and understand and unlock more of your gifts, more of your purpose, more of your soul gifts. And it just feels more fulfilling, more like, okay, things make sense now. So, as I said, so that's just why I love working with the archetypes. And I've been since the past 11 years, and it's just been an unfolding journey. So this is just yesterday I launched my course for the third time, Embrace Your Archetypes, the Sacred Keys to Living a Life You Love. So I'm going to share a little bit more about that right now. So if you'd love, so we have one more day tomorrow of this masterclass. But right now I would love to invite you, if it resonates, to do a deeper dive with me and embrace your archetypes. So I will put the details in the link again above, because they're not, because I had to do this again, but it's really a profound journey. So there is, part of it is, you know, teaching and self-exploration for yourself and uncovering and discovering even more about how the power of working with your archetypes. And then also it includes, though, like energy healing and transformation that goes into a deeper level to really embody and understand it. So right now the course is early bird pricing until November 3rd. Yesterday I was saying October, and November 3rd. But right now I have there's a couple other powerful bonuses that go with it that you will get right away. You can see those on the page. There are 2 activations and attunements, but 2 other things to know about. If you register, you know, before November 1st, in the next few days, I will throw in the VIP. That gives you a 1 hour plus a 20-minute follow-up session with me. That is $777 value. That is huge in and of itself. The value is even more than you're going to pay for the course, okay? I got witchcraft kit, but yeah, love, light, and more. Yeah, you could have the witch archetype. That's an archetype, right? So the other thing is, if you pay in full by October 30th, yesterday I said the wrong date, October 30th, pay in full, you get an extra $100 off. If you use the code, I don't know the code right now. The code is, I will put the code in the links because I don't know what to tell you. It's something 100, but you get an extra 100. So it's a really great deal. There's some awesome ladies so far in the course. Men can do it too, but it's going to be a really awesome group. The group energy is powerful. Didn't feel right to me. Yeah. The witch didn't feel right to you. Yeah. So that's the important thing, like resonance, right? Listening to our resonance. And that's important when it comes to the archetypes. It's important when it comes to life, like really noticing if things feel right. And sometimes the mind will try to jump in, and that's where the mind can create confusion. We might feel like, yeah. And then we sit back and we go, well, let me think about this, and let me ask this, or so really just check in with yourself. Does this feel right? Does this resonate? If you have any questions, let me know. If you share the link for the masterclass, again, you will be entered in the drawing for tomorrow. For the cards too, which I'm not going to tell you. They're really awesome though. And you can get a chance for a free 20-minute discovery call for the archetypes with me. All right. So any more questions? Okay. I think that is all. All right, yeah, so the 2 bonuses are the Calling Back All of You, Activation, and Archetypes. And then there's a bonus call. In life, we're always told what we should be and act. We have to be ourselves despite the subliminal messages. Yes, absolutely. And there's been a lot of like programming and energy that's kind of made it challenging. But it's time to break free from that more and more. So, again, that's one of my intentions and one of the places of really support. And I love, you know, so I will just share a little personal. So as a child, my parents got divorced when I was 2, and I never saw my biological father again. He had a lot of issues going on, but we lived with my grandparents till I was 7. And my grandmother especially, like, she really saw me. Like, she saw me, and I felt really seen. I felt like I could be myself. And then my mother remarried when I was 7, and I ended up as a middle child of 7 kids by the time I was 9. Yes, a lot of programming and conditioning. Yep. And so I had a very different experience. Suddenly I wasn't seen. Yes, witches are women of free spirit, free speech, and love and nature. Yes, star. So, but the gift to me in that was, you know, being seen and then not seen is it became really important for me to be seen, but to also see others and help them see themselves. And that's just something I honed even before I knew about archetypes, even as my teaching yoga and owning a yoga and wellness center. I realized that's what I love to do, and what I naturally do is help people like see their gifts, and I see the light in people. So I will put the links to everything after I get off this video. I will go in and copy and paste it to the top so you can see what I was talking about. And thanks. I will be back tomorrow at the same time. The same bat time, same bat channel. Probably won't be wearing my crown tomorrow. Thank you for the love hearts shower. I appreciate that. So, all right, sending you guys lots of love. I love nature, but wanted to stay white light. All right, well, thanks, and we'll see who the winner is tomorrow. And if you, Jessica and Adana, I will reach out to you about what you won. Congratulations. All right. Have an awesome day. All right. Or night, wherever you are. Bye.